Now, before you go and click on the description of this video, where there is another YouTube video that actually has the pictures, because this is my primary YouTube, and I figured it'd get more views, but the other video is going to be the one that shows you what you're looking for, Before you do that, just take a moment to like this video and subscribe, you know what I mean? Now go click the other video. Did you click it? You've been tricked! You've been tricked, you bastards! What the hell are you doing trying to find naked pictures of wrestlers anyways? Wrestling is not about sex. Wrestling is about badasses being badasses. Now, I can understand if I put naked pictures of female wrestlers, people clicking, but why would you click for naked pictures of male wrestlers? They're not presented for their sexuality. I wonder why this is. Well, now that we're done with this intro, here we go. What up, cucks? It's your boy, the hater, and we sure got him, didn't we? You know what I'm saying? We sure got him. I bet you this is going to be my second most watched video of all time, which will prove once and for all that people no longer watch wrestling for the right reasons. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, hater, don't be angry if people are gay. I don't care at all. If you're gay and if you want to see naked pictures of Cucky Rhodes, be my guest. If you want to furiously whack your baggage to Cody Rhodes, go ahead and do it. However, the point of this video is not don't be gay for Cody. The point of this video is that wrestling has gotten to a point where the primary motivator for people to watch wrestling is because they're sexually attracted to the male wrestlers. Now, again, nothing wrong with that if that's what you're into. But the problem is this speaks volumes about what wrestling has become. No longer are people interested in the badassery of wrestlers. No longer are people interested in the sexuality and sexiness of female wrestlers. People now are interested in the badassery of wrestlers like Rhea Ripley and apparently the sexuality of people like Cucky Rhodes, motherfuckers. Cucky Rhodes. Now, with that being said, that's going to be the topic of this video. You thought this was just a bait. It's not. There's actually a topic to this video. This is essentially Masculinity in Wrestling Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. All right? Now, as we've just established, if the wrestlers aren't masculine, the fans aren't going to be masculine, right? I'll put it to you this way. The supply exists to meet the demand. The people understand that there's nothing badass about any of their wrestlers. So now they have to hinge upon the sexuality of their wrestlers, and they must hope that their fans are really into this stuff, right? This is why you have things like Cucky Rhodes kissing Kenny Omega on the lips. This is why you have things like Seth Rollins wearing heels and all that other stuff, right? And this is why the women in wrestling are essentially being converted into men. Let's say it like it is, right? I'm not saying that the women are ugly pigs or that they're all masculine, because I think it would be unreasonable to suggest that Rhea Ripley is not an attractive woman. She obviously is. She needs to pretty up a little bit and get more feminine, but she has attractive features. She's got a pretty face. She's got a nice physique, all that stuff. And the same goes for a lot of the wrestlers there, right? Like Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. I'm talking about the ones that are borderline masculine, right? But especially, obviously, like Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, they're obviously attractive girls. But the problem is they're not allowed to be attractive girls, right? The only exception is now Liv Morgan, who is out there just doing an affair gimmick with Dominic, right? All the other women have these innocuous gimmicks that have nothing to do with their sexuality, right? You could go even as recently as the Bella Twins, right? I remember, I'll never forget it. I was hanging out with my roommate back in the day, and the Bella Twins come out, right? And, they have their entrance music, and they do the little thing where they shake their ass, right? And my friend was like, oh my God, he didn't watch wrestling, right? First he saw them coming out, and he's like, oh my God, those girls are hot. And then, Nikki Bella starts doing the little ass shake thing, and he's like, oh my God, he's losing his mind. And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is what wrestling used to be about. But nowadays, it's not about that anymore, right? Now, I'm not saying let's go back to the 90s necessarily. I'm not saying that that's all women can do. And that's one of the biggest red herring arguments I've ever seen in my life, right? There's this assumption that just because they had bra and panties matches back in the day, that's all the women are good for. No, absolutely not. I don't even care about that. To be honest, I never enjoyed women's wrestling. I never enjoyed bra and panties matches either. You know what I mean? I thought it was silly. I was like, what's the point of this, right? But what I did enjoy was the character work, right? And character work only works when things make sense, right? For example, Rhea Ripley has essentially been cucked by Dominic, right? She came back, made her entrance. She didn't even attack him. Should have just given him a clothesline or a riptide or something, right? That'd have been nice. And then the next week, it'd have been like, why'd you do that, mommy? I'm so sorry. They could have started the angle that way, right? But she didn't do that because at the end of the day, she's still a girl. And I guess the people that book this are like, oh, it's unbecoming of a woman to do this and whatever, right? The point is, the masculinity and femininity of the wrestlers have been reversed, right? Been reversed. Like Rhea Ripley comes out wearing normal street clothes that a guy would wear, except for with a little bustier, and Seth Rollins comes out looking like he's going to the Met Gala as a girl, So there you have it. I mean, there's nothing more or nothing less to be said about any of this, except for the reality that if you do this, the incentives change, right? Now, men are not going to tune in. Certainly there were a few million men back in the day that probably tuned in just to see Sable, just to see Trish Stratus, right? Now they're not going to do that anymore because they don't see that, right? They're like, oh, I can go and pretend that Liv Morgan is sexy, or I can go to Pornhub and whack my bag like a degenerate, right? And they're like, I think I'll go to Pornhub and whack my bag like a degenerate, right? Meanwhile, the other big draw that wrestling had was masculine men, right? And now people are like, oh, well, there's no more masculine men anymore. So if I want to see masculine guys, maybe I'll watch boxing, maybe I'll watch UFC, maybe I'll watch Rescue Me, starring Dennis Leary, which is very, very high in masculinity. Cool shit, by the way. Watch Rescue Me, cucks. But instead of doing all this, what have they done instead? Instead, people now tune in to see what costume Kenny Omega is wearing this time and what kind of heels Seth Rollins is wearing, right? And invariably, this is going to attract weirdos. Not gay people even, just weird motherfucks. Because I'm sure gay people are like, oh, this is there's gay porn, I'm sure. You know what I mean? They can go watch that if they want to get off, right? I'm sure there's better looking guys in gay porn. Not that I know anything about that, thank God, but you know what I mean? Never watched that. But, I'm sure they have other alternatives. But instead, this attracts only the weirdos, the neckbeards, the people that want to live vicariously through Cody Rhodes. They can't live vicariously through Roman Reigns because he's just too much better than them, right? He's too awesome to live vicariously through, right? Cody Rhodes is more and of course, the lower we go in the hierarchy, you got Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. These guys are attainable people to live vicariously through, right? Anyone can beat Kevin Owens. It doesn't take much. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't take anything really. Go take a few wrestling classes, you're Kevin Owens, right? It's not like he does anything special. So there you have it. I think this video has made its point. The point is, when you change the incentive structure of wrestling, things change for the worst. And this is reflected in the viewership. Simple as that. Nobody cares anymore because nowadays people are they're going to start telling Sheamus to retire. They told Big Show to retire. They told Kane to retire. These badasses, right? Why? So that Johnny Gargano can get a shot and so you can discuss what boots he's wearing. You know what I mean? Bunch of weird motherfucks, man. Anyways, cucks, that's been the video. And for anyone that stuck through this and that was baited, sorry, but I had to prove a point, motherfucks. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're that I'm making fun of you specifically. I'm making fun of what wrestling has become. A place that attracts this kind of fandom and that makes the fans so crazy that they're willing to look for and search for pictures of Cody Rhodes being naked. You know what I'm saying? There you have it, cucks. Take care of yourselves and each other up in this mug.